Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to talk about a simple yet powerful truth. Asterisk asterisk, stay silent and everything will come to you naturally. Asterisk asterisk now, when you hear the word silence. It's easy to think of it as nothingness or emptiness. But silence isn't about the absence of sound. It's about creating the space for clarity, for understanding, and for connection. In a world that is constantly shouting for our attention, emails, notifications, deadlines, we forget that the most powerful thing we can do is stop and listen. Because in that silence we hear things that we might otherwise miss. We live in a culture of constant hustle, where we feel the need to push, to fight, to prove ourselves at every turn. But here's the thing, asterisk asterisk action without reflection is often misguided action. Asterisk asterisk and reflection, real reflection, requires silence. It's when we quiet the noise around us that we can start to hear the whispers of our own intuition, the ideas that have always been inside of us but drowned out by the chaos. Think about the moments in your life where you felt most aligned, most at peace. It wasn't when you were forcing something to happen. It was when you allowed things to unfold. When you paused, reflected, and trusted the process. The universe, or whatever you want to call it, has its own rhythm, and when we align ourselves with that rhythm, things flow naturally. Now, I'm not saying that nothing requires effort. Of course, effort is a part of any journey, but it's not effort for the sake of effort. It's effort with purpose. It's about taking the time to understand the direction, to understand the core of what truly matters. And in that silence, that pause, everything you need will become clearer. Think of the great leaders, the great innovators. They didn't force their vision into existence. They listened, they observed. They allowed their ideas to evolve, and when the time was right, they acted, and their actions didn't feel like a struggle because they were aligned with the natural flow of life. Their silence didn't come from a place of passivity, but from a place of confidence. Confidence that by simply staying present and grounded, things would come to them, and they did. The beauty of silence is that it doesn't ask for anything. It simply asterisk is asterisk, and in that simplicity, it brings everything into perspective. So, the next time you're facing uncertainty, the next time you feel the urge to rush, remember, sometimes the best thing you can do is to stay silent, let the answers come to you, allow life to reveal itself, and trust that everything you need will unfold in its own time. Silence is often misunderstood in our fast-paced world. People tend to associate silence with emptiness, a void that needs to be filled with noise, words, or action. But true silence is not about the absence of sound or activity. Rather, it is about creating space for clarity, understanding, and deep connection. In our constant pursuit of achievement, we forget that silence is a powerful tool that allows us to listen to ourselves, to others, and to the world around us. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, we are bombarded with noise. Whether it's the constant ringing of phones, the incessant chatter of social media, or the demands of work and personal life, the noise never stops. We are taught that in order to succeed, we must constantly be busy, constantly be moving, constantly be speaking. But in reality, this constant noise often drowns out the important things, the things that truly matter. It drowns out our own thoughts, our own voice, and our own intuition. We lose touch with what we really want, what we truly believe, and what our next step should be. This is where silence becomes essential. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, it is the space in which we can truly listen. When we embrace silence, we allow ourselves the opportunity to hear our own inner voice, the voice of intuition, of wisdom, of self-awareness. In the silence, we can hear the thoughts and ideas that have always been within us, but that we may not have been able to access because of all the external noise. It is in this stillness that we find clarity, that we understand what is truly important, and that we begin to see the path forward more clearly. Silence also allows us to listen to others in a way that we cannot when we are constantly speaking or distracted. When we are quiet, we open ourselves to truly hearing what others have to say, without judgment, without interruption, and without the urge to respond immediately. This creates space for deeper understanding and connection. It's in the moments of silence between conversations, when we pause and reflect, that we can truly grasp the meaning of what someone else is sharing. In this way, silence fosters empathy, connection, and more meaningful relationships. Furthermore, silence is a powerful tool for self-reflection. It provides the opportunity to pause and evaluate our thoughts, feelings, and actions. In a world that constantly urges us to move forward and take action, silence encourages us to slow down and assess. By sitting in silence, we can evaluate our choices, our desires, and our priorities. We can take stock of what is working in our lives and what needs to change. It is in these moments of quiet introspection that we gain the insights needed to move forward in a more intentional and purposeful way. In essence, silence is not a void to be feared or avoided, but a fertile space for growth and understanding. It is a tool that allows us to tune into ourselves and the world around us in a way that constant noise and activity never could. When we embrace silence, we open ourselves to clarity, connection, and insight. We begin to hear what truly matters, and we make better decisions based on that understanding. In the end, silence is not something to escape from, but something to embrace, for in it lies the potential for everything to come to us naturally. In today's fast-paced world, we often find ourselves in a constant state of action. From early mornings to late nights, we are conditioned to believe that success is measured by how much we accomplish, how quickly we do it, and how busy we remain. We're taught that to achieve something, we must always be moving, always be doing. But in this culture of relentless activity, we sometimes forget an essential truth. Action without reflection is often misguided action. Without taking the time to pause and reflect, we risk making decisions based on impulse, emotion, or external pressures rather than on clarity and thoughtful consideration. Reflection requires us to step back from the noise of daily life and take a moment of silence. It's in those moments of stillness that we can truly assess the path we're on, the choices we've made, and the direction we're heading. Without this reflection, we are simply reacting to the demands of the moment, often without fully understanding the consequences of our actions. This can lead us to make decisions that feel right in the short term, but don't align with our deeper values or long-term goals. It's easy to get caught up in the urgency of the moment, but when we act without reflecting, we risk losing sight of what truly matters. Reflection, however, allows us to gain perspective. When we pause to reflect, we give ourselves the opportunity to look at a situation from different angles. We can think about the potential outcomes of our decisions, how they might affect others, and whether they align with our broader vision for our lives. In silence, we create space for our minds to process the information and experiences we've gathered. It's in this space that we find clarity. We are able to step back from the immediate pressures and see the bigger picture. This ability to zoom out and view the situation with a clear mind is what enables us to make decisions that are aligned with our true values and long-term goals. It's also important to recognize that reflection is not a one-time event but an ongoing practice. It is something that should be built into our daily lives. Without regular reflection, we can easily fall into the trap of doing things because they've always been done that way or because it's expected of us. Over time, we may find ourselves on a path that no longer serves us or one that doesn't bring us the fulfillment we thought it would. By making reflection a regular part of our lives, we ensure that we are continuously reassessing our choices and staying aligned with our evolving goals and values. Furthermore, reflection allows us to learn from our experiences. It gives us the opportunity to look back on both our successes and our failures and understand what worked and what didn't. This self-awareness is key to growth. When we reflect on our experiences, we can identify patterns, recognize mistakes, and make adjustments moving forward. In this way, reflection is not only about gaining clarity, but also about learning and evolving. It turns every experience, good or bad, into a valuable lesson. In a world that constantly pressures us to do more, do it faster, and do it now, taking the time to reflect can feel like a luxury. But in reality, it is a necessity. Reflection allows us to take a step back, gain perspective, and make decisions that are aligned with our true goals. It's the pause that ensures our actions are purposeful and meaningful. Without reflection, we risk moving forward blindly, reacting to the demands of the world around us rather than acting with intention and clarity. In this way, silence becomes not only a tool for self-awareness, but also a foundation for making more informed, thoughtful decisions. In our modern lives, we are often told that success comes from pushing hard, constantly striving, and forcing our way through challenges. We're conditioned to believe that the more we hustle, the more we force things to happen, the greater our rewards will be. But what if success doesn't come from this unyielding effort and relentless pursuit? What if the key to achieving everything we truly desire lies not in forcing, but in aligning ourselves with the natural rhythm of life? When we talk about aligning with the natural rhythm of life, we are referring to the concept of allowing things to unfold at their own pace, rather than trying to control every outcome. Life has its own flow, its own cycles, patterns, and timing. When we try to fight against this rhythm, when we push against it with too much force, we often create resistance and friction, making the journey much more difficult than it needs to be. But when we stop trying to control everything and instead trust the natural course of events, things tend to fall into place more effortlessly. Imagine a river flowing gently down a valley. It doesn't rush or struggle against the landscape. It simply flows, following the path of least resistance. It adapts to the contours of the land, and over time, it carves out a path that is smooth and natural. Life works in much the same way. When we trust the process, when we allow ourselves to move with the flow rather than against it, we find that our efforts align with the opportunities around us. We begin to notice the right people, the right circumstances, and the right opportunities appearing at just the right time. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't put in effort or that we should simply sit back and wait for things to happen. Effort, of course, is still required, but the difference lies in the intention behind the effort. When we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life, our efforts become more focused, more purposeful. They aren't scattered or forced. They are deliberate and directed. When we act in harmony with the world around us, we make progress in a way that feels more like flow than struggle. In the natural world, we can see examples of this rhythm everywhere. Look at the seasons, for instance. Each season has its own purpose, and we don't try to rush the arrival of spring or delay the arrival of winter. Instead, we accept the cycles as they are and we adapt to them. We plant seeds in the spring, harvest in the summer, and rest in the winter. In each season, there is a natural rhythm that must be honored. The same is true in our lives. We must recognize when it's time to act, when it's time to wait, and when it's time to reflect. By listening to the rhythms of our own lives, we can act at the right moments, which ultimately leads to more successful and fulfilling outcomes. Additionally, aligning with the natural rhythm of life allows us to be more present. When we stop obsessing over controlling every outcome and let life unfold as it is meant to, we create space for mindfulness and appreciation of the present moment. Instead of focusing on an uncertain future or dwelling on past mistakes, we can enjoy the here and now, trusting that everything will unfold in its own time. This trust in life's rhythm leads to a sense of peace and calm, even in moments of uncertainty. We also begin to develop a deeper sense of patience when we trust in the natural flow of things. So often, we become impatient when things don't happen as quickly as we'd like, or when we encounter obstacles. But by aligning with life's rhythm, we learn to be patient, knowing that the right opportunities will come when the time is right. We don't force the process, we trust it. In the end, aligning with the natural rhythm of life is about understanding that we are part of a much larger system, one that has its own pace and flow. When we try to force things, we create friction and resistance. But when we trust the rhythm of life, when we move in harmony with it, everything falls into place more effortlessly. Life has a way of providing for us, guiding us, and offering us the opportunities we need when we stop trying to force it and instead allow it to unfold naturally. The key is to be in tune with that rhythm, to listen to the subtle cues that guide us, and to trust that everything will come to us in its own time. In a world that constantly tells us to do more, achieve more, and be more. It can be easy to overlook one of the most important aspects of success: effort with purpose. We live in an era where busy is often equated with being productive, where the constant pursuit of more work, more achievements, more accolades, becomes the goal itself. But this kind of effort, when it is done without a clear sense of purpose, can lead to burnout, confusion, and a sense of unfulfillment. It's not about how much we do, it's about how much meaning we bring to what we do. Effort that is infused with purpose has the power to propel us toward our goals in a way that aimless, unfocused action never could. At its core, effort with purpose means that every action we take is intentional, aligned with our values, and directed toward a larger goal. It's not about mindlessly checking off tasks from a to-do list or rushing through our work to meet an arbitrary deadline. Instead, it's about taking the time to understand the why behind what we do, making sure that each step we take brings us closer to something that truly matters to us. When we act with purpose, we approach tasks with a deeper sense of meaning, and this transforms the work itself. Whether the task is big or small, it takes on more significance when it is rooted in purpose. Purpose also serves as a compass, guiding us through the inevitable challenges and obstacles that arise in any journey. Life is full of distractions, detours, and setbacks, and without a clear sense of purpose, it's easy to become lost or frustrated. But when we are clear about our purpose, when we know why we're doing something, we are better able to stay focused on the bigger picture, even when things don't go as planned. Purpose acts as an anchor, grounding us in our values and reminding us of why we started in the first place. It gives us the resilience to persevere, even when the path seems uncertain or difficult. Moreover, effort with purpose allows us to conserve our energy and focus it where it truly matters. In a world that encourages multitasking and doing everything at once, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the sheer number of demands placed on us. But when we work with purpose, we recognize that not everything is worth our time or energy. We become more discerning about where we invest our efforts. Purpose helps us prioritize the things that align with our values and long-term goals, ensuring that our energy is spent on what truly matters, rather than being scattered across countless tasks that don't contribute to our deeper vision. When our efforts are purposeful, they also become more sustainable. Without purpose, we may find ourselves working long hours or taking on responsibilities that drain us, leaving us feeling depleted and disconnected from what truly excites us. Purpose, however, provides a sense of direction and fulfillment that fuels our motivation over the long term. When we are doing something that is meaningful to us, the effort doesn't feel like a burden. Instead, it becomes an integral part of the journey, one that drives us forward with energy and enthusiasm. The work itself becomes a source of satisfaction because we know that every effort we make is contributing to something larger than ourselves. In addition, purposeful effort fosters a sense of fulfillment. When we are clear about why we are doing something, the results become secondary to the meaning we derive from the process itself. Success is no longer just about achieving external rewards or recognition. It becomes about personal growth, the satisfaction of knowing that our actions are aligned with our values, and the sense of contribution we feel as we work towards something we care about. The satisfaction that comes from purposeful effort is not fleeting or superficial. It is deep and lasting because it is rooted in our authentic desires and goals. The beauty of effort with purpose is that it not only brings us closer to our goals, but it also helps us enjoy the journey along the way. When we work with intention, we are fully present in the task at hand, finding meaning and satisfaction in each step, regardless of how small. We stop rushing through life in pursuit of the next big thing and start savoring the process, knowing that every effort we put forth is an integral part of the story we are creating. In conclusion, effort with purpose is the key to meaningful achievement. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. Purpose transforms effort from a mundane task into a meaningful journey, helping us stay focused, energized, and fulfilled as we move toward our goals. By aligning our actions with our deeper values and vision, we ensure that our efforts not only take us where we want to go, but also bring us a sense of satisfaction and purpose along the way. Effort with purpose is the true driver of success, and it is what ultimately makes the journey worthwhile. When we think about the most successful and influential people in history, what often stands out is their ability to listen and observe. They didn't rush into action or force their ideas into existence. Instead, they took the time to listen to themselves, to others, and to the world around them. In this way, great leaders, innovators, and visionaries all share a common trait. They understand the power of listening and observation, and how these practices are essential for creating lasting impact. Listening and observing are not passive actions. They are active, intentional practices that foster deeper understanding and greater clarity. The first aspect of listening and observing is the ability to truly hear what others are saying. In today's fast-paced world, communication is often rushed. We are quick to offer our opinions, jump into solutions, or give advice, often before fully understanding the other person's perspective. However, when we take the time to listen carefully, we open ourselves to new insights and ideas that might otherwise have gone unnoticed. Listening without the immediate urge to respond creates space for empathy and connection. It allows us to understand not just the words being spoken, but also the emotions, thoughts, and motivations behind them. This level of deep listening is critical in building relationships and fostering trust. When people feel heard and understood, they are more likely to be open, honest, and collaborative. This is especially important in leadership. Great leaders know that they cannot lead effectively without first understanding the needs, concerns, and aspirations of those they lead. By truly listening, they gain the insights needed to make informed decisions and inspire those around them. Similarly, observation plays a crucial role in shaping successful outcomes. The best innovators and leaders understand that action is not always the first step. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply observe. Observation is about paying attention to what is happening around you, noticing patterns, and understanding the subtle cues that can inform your next move. It's about seeing the world as it is, without preconceived notions or biases, and understanding it on a deeper level. When we take the time to observe, we become more aware of the opportunities and challenges that are present, giving us a clearer picture of how to proceed. Consider the example of an artist or a scientist. Both of these professions rely heavily on observation to guide their work. An artist observes the world around them, drawing inspiration from the colors, shapes, and patterns they see in nature. A scientist observes the natural world, noticing details and connections that lead to new discoveries. These individuals don't simply react to what they see, they take the time to observe, reflect, and understand before they act. This ability to pause and observe is a crucial skill for anyone who hopes to make a meaningful impact. Great leaders and innovators also know that timing is everything. They don't rush into action. Instead, they observe the landscape, taking note of when the right moment has arrived to make their move. There is a rhythm to success, and great leaders understand that rushing ahead without observing the situation can lead to mistakes and missed opportunities. By being patient and taking the time to observe, they are able to act with greater precision and impact when the time is right. Furthermore, listening and observing allow us to be more adaptive and responsive. Life is unpredictable, and the best laid plans can often be disrupted by unforeseen circumstances. When we are able to listen to feedback, observe the changes happening around us, and remain flexible, we are better equipped to navigate challenges and adjust our strategies as needed. By keeping an open mind and staying attuned to the world around us, we can adapt more easily to shifting circumstances, allowing us to remain resilient in the face of change. Listening and observing also help us cultivate a mindset of humility. When we take the time to truly listen to others and observe the world, we acknowledge that we don't have all the answers. We recognize that there is always something new to learn, and that other perspectives and experiences can offer valuable insights. This humility not only makes us better leaders, but it also allows us to grow as individuals. It helps us recognize that we are part of something larger than ourselves, and that we can always learn from the people and situations around us. In the end, the ability to listen and observe is not just about gathering information. It's about creating deeper connections, making better decisions, and acting with greater purpose. Great leaders, innovators, and visionaries understand that their success is not just a result of their own actions, but of their ability to listen, observe, and learn from the world around them. By practicing the art of listening and observing, we gain the clarity, insight, and understanding needed to make informed decisions and take meaningful action. It is these quiet moments of listening and observing that often lead to the greatest breakthroughs and the most profound successes. Silence is often misunderstood in a world that celebrates noise and constant activity. We tend to think of silence as a void, an empty space that needs to be filled with sound or action. But true silence is far from an absence. It is a powerful tool for clarity, reflection, and growth. One of the most profound aspects of silence is that it comes from a place of confidence. Confidence in ourselves, in the process of life, and in the belief that everything we need will come to us when the time is right. It's in this quiet trust that we can find the patience and strength to wait for things to unfold naturally, without the constant pressure to rush or force outcomes. At its core, silence is rooted in the understanding that we don't need to control everything. So often, we are caught up in the frantic pace of life, constantly striving for the next thing, the next achievement, the next validation. We live in a world that rewards noise, loud voices, fast actions, constant hustle. It's easy to get caught up in this, believing that the more we do, the more we achieve, the more we will be noticed and valued. But silence challenges this notion. It teaches us that we don't have to be constantly speaking, acting, or pushing to make progress. In fact, by embracing silence, we allow ourselves the time and space to listen, reflect, and align with the natural flow of life. Confidence in silence means that we trust the process. We understand that things will unfold in their own time and that we don't have to force them. It's about having faith that the universe, life, or the natural rhythm of events will present us with the opportunities and outcomes we need when the time is right. This trust allows us to let go of the need for control, releasing the anxiety and stress that come from constantly trying to manage every aspect of our lives. Instead of trying to manipulate the future, we allow the present to unfold naturally, knowing that everything we need will eventually come to us without having to force it. This doesn't mean that we remain passive or inactive. Confidence in silence is not about sitting back and waiting for things to happen without any effort. Rather, it is about taking purposeful action when the time is right, and having the patience to wait when necessary. It is about knowing when to speak and when to remain quiet, when to act and when to observe. Silence provides the clarity and space for us to make more informed, intentional decisions. It allows us to step back, assess our thoughts and goals, and move forward with greater certainty, knowing that the right choices will come to us with time and reflection. When we trust in the power of silence, we also trust in our own intuition. So often, we look outward for answers, seeking validation from others, or constantly looking for external sources of guidance. But silence gives us the opportunity to reconnect with our inner selves, to listen to that quiet voice within that often knows the way forward. Our intuition is a powerful tool. It's the wisdom that comes from our experiences, our values, and our subconscious mind. In the silence, we allow our intuition to rise to the surface, guiding us toward the decisions and actions that align with our true purpose. By trusting in silence, we learn to trust ourselves. Silence also helps us cultivate patience. In a world that rewards quick results and instant gratification, patience can seem like a rare quality. We often want things to happen right away, and when they don't, we can feel frustrated or discouraged. But silence teaches us that some things take time. It reminds us that good things are worth waiting for, and that rushing toward an outcome often leads to mistakes or missed opportunities. By embracing silence, we develop the patience to wait for the right moment, knowing that things will come to us naturally when the time is right. This patience is not about inaction, but about trusting the process and allowing things to unfold at their own pace. Confidence in silence also means being comfortable with uncertainty. In a world that values certainty and control, silence allows us to embrace the unknown. It teaches us that it's okay not to have all the answers, and that sometimes the best course of action is simply to wait and observe. This acceptance of uncertainty frees us from the need to have everything figured out immediately. It encourages us to trust that the path will reveal itself in time, and that we are exactly where we need to be in that moment. Ultimately, silence is a powerful form of strength. It doesn't require shouting or constant exertion to make an impact. Instead, silence allows us to move through life with grace, confidence, and clarity. It is a quiet, internal strength that comes from knowing that we don't have to force our way through life. When we embrace silence, we align ourselves with a deeper trust in ourselves and in the natural flow of events. We recognize that everything we need will come to us in its own time, and that by remaining calm and centered, we allow the world to unfold in a way that is both natural and beautiful.